Welcome back, delivering to you broadcast excellence. Mattel creates first ever transgender Barbie doll. What's up with that? What's the demand for the transgender Barbie doll? You got less than 1% of people identifying as transgender, but I guess if they keep marketing this, they will produce a mental illness in enough kids so that boys and girls that are ordinarily not confused about their gender will be confused, and Mattel will be right there to capitalize on reinforcing that gender dysphoria by causing little boys and girls that play with, objects and toys to become further confused when they start dealing with transgender role models. Transgender role models.
Did you see plus size Barbie though?
Let's see plus size Barbie.
Like,
Hold
really?
it up there. I know you guys
It's
can't.
like if Miss Piggy
I'm
became
sorry,
a
Denver.
doll. It was like, I mean, she's got like 4 chins though.
Well, let me see what you're talking about
It's
here.
like the last page. It's very funny.
Oh, wait a second.
I'm like, is that real? I mean, is
Maybe
this?
you could put a
it's
billboard on
Gateway
that body.
Pundit.
Check that out.
I'm just saying, I mean, there's actual plus size models that don't have that facial structure.
I tell you, the West is in serious decline.
This is like morbidly obese. This is Whataburger Barbie.
Meanwhile, in China, they're sharpening their fangs and raising up their armies. The Muslim hordes of the Antichrist are preparing to swarm like a modern-day Hannibal over our borders. And we've got this protecting us. 4-chin Barbie that may be a guy.
No, that's
wait. Barbie
that's
gets
not
to
the-
make...
That's not the transgender one. That's like I think they're trying to be more inclusive, so they're doing all sorts
I
of
get
things.
that. I'm just reading the headline here. It says Barbie gets makeover with new Muslim hijabi Barbie.
I know.
Let me tell you a little hint there, Mattel. By all means, do not present to the Muslims an all-new hijabi Barbie transgender version, because they're just going to take the little Barbies and throw them off the roof, because that's what they do with people like that. You may say that's a terrible thing. Yeah, it is a terrible thing. It's a terrible thing when you have intolerance of anybody, but it's even worse when you're trying to create and exploit intolerance by promoting stuff you shouldn't be promoting. Do you know how offensive the United States has become globally with our wokeness? Have you thought about this? How American wokeness has actually alienated nations? Do you realize that, on the day that we came out of Afghanistan, we were putting our woke LGBTQ flags on top of Muslim state buildings and on top of our embassy, and we were literally waving our decadence and our religion in the face of a religion that doesn't tolerate it. It's no wonder that we've got to get rid of these people.
You gotta get to George. You've promised George for like a whole segment and a half. I just want to make sure we don't get sidetracked.
Civilization may not survive. So the reason why I've been waiting is because I wanted to wait until this segment to talk about the George Soros tells the Davos crowd, you've got to defeat Putin and defeat Xi. This is interesting. I know a lot of you don't love George Soros, obviously, but we've got to get past that knee-jerk reactionary state of mind that does to them what they do to us. I want to find out what they're actually saying, what they're actually thinking. So Davos, as you know, which is the World Economic Forum, the globalist elite New World Order, primarily the participants in the Western economic system. These guys get together and they're working right now on taking over the world. And you've been warned about that on War Room over and over again. But let me hear, George said some stuff here that I actually am surprised at. For instance, I would have thought that Georgie would be supporting China, and he would be part of the New World Order at its worst level, which is the confusion, or the collusion of Chinese communism with Europe, which is what Xi is trying to do. He's trying to bring the One Belt, One Road all the way through China around the world and put up his headquarters there in Europe, creating essentially a one world beast, which would be like a Book of Revelations thing. But I find it interesting that Soros is anti-Putin. I get that, but he's anti-Xi. Did you know he's anti-China? Well, it's time that we got this straight, because that's actually comforting in a way, because it shows that the Crips and the Bloods aren't uniting together and forming one group. I don't like either one of them, but I'm happy they're not working together. So let me read to you what the 90-year-old puppet master is saying. By the way, 98 years old, Henry Kissinger. Henry Kissinger, Mr. President. Henry Kissinger. Hold on, I'm dropping things.
Oh, no.
Oh, shoot.
I think you're okay.
I'm back. Henry Kissinger was there, the 98-year-old, and he's warning. He's saying, listen, I don't agree with everything that the globalist Henry Kissinger says, but I'm a historian. I've read Kissinger my whole life. And I will say this, he has been shrewd, like Metternich, and during the era of Napoleon. He's a shrewdy. And so he says that he's worried about the start of another war because if we don't handle this Europe-Russia thing, it could be the start of another war. Let me go on record as saying this. You want to pray for Vladimir Putin. I know a lot of you want to curse him and hate him and all that stuff. Let me tell you something. He's reacting to the globalist aspirations of the one world order. And he does not like Zelensky being the finger in his eye and probing. He doesn't want to see bioweapons labs or nuclear capacity surrounding his nation because he wants a sovereign, free Russia that is not under the woke tyranny of the depraved West. He doesn't want to be a dancing puppet. He wants the glory of Russia to stand on its own two feet. He's a sovereign nation guy. Dictator, yeah, but sovereign nation guy. Respect the part that he's got right. So Putin is, but you know what? This is right. Kissinger's right. And the reason we got a problem is Putin is sick. I wanted to say this to you. We give you the news before anyone else does. Putin has a cancer condition that if he dies, if he's taken out within the next 12 months, the number 2 man is an imbecilic substitute for him. He's the guy that brought him into the Ukraine. He's the guy that could use a nuclear weapon. He's the guy that could trigger World War III, not Vladimir Putin. So the short-sighted people that all go, oh, I'm glad he's sick. Yeah, you don't want to be glad he's sick, Charlie. You want him there because he'll restrain himself. He'll play chicken, but he won't run himself over. Other issues that concern all of humanity, Soros. Let me read you what Soros said. Is fighting pandemics, climate change, avoiding nuclear war, and maintaining global institutions. This is I've got a secret transcript of what Soros said. I've got the secret transcript. I'm giving it to you now, which is available at Zero Hedge if you want to read it. He says the 2 leaders that have made mind-boggling mistakes. He said he's surprised. And isn't this interesting? George and I actually agree on something. George Soros and I agree. Soros says the 2 mistakes are Putin never should have gone into Ukraine because he's revealed that his army isn't what everyone thought it was. And secondly, Xi Jinping never should have shut down the entire economy of certain key cities and sectors of China because of a zero COVID policy. And I would say Soros is correct that in a sense, God in his sovereignty has allowed these 2 nations. I remember one time I have a young lady I worked with who became Trump's first female apprentice and the youngest apprentice on his show, The Apprentice. And she was a kind of a student. Mm-hmm. And I talked to her after she won, and I said, did God give you a moment of where he gave you an insight or an idea? And she talked about how she won, but she said the primary way she won wasn't by her moving faster than her Harvard and Ivy League elite competitors. It was that God made them move slower. And it reminded me of the children of Israel as they were leaving Egypt. Those poor little Jews wandering on their feet and their tribes, old people and young, you can just see them, getting down the street, carrying their luggage. And behind them comes the raging mercenaries on their chariots of Egypt. And the Arabs coming down upon the Jewish people. And God saw that these Jews aren't going, well, he didn't give them supernatural speed. He took the wheels off the chariots. Mm-hmm. God has just taken the wheels off of China and Russia. What does it tell you, America? To the discerning that are hearing what I'm saying, you will see that God is granting grace to America. Even the tragedies that are happening tell us something's wrong. I just pray the right voices grab that moment. Anyway, Xi Jinping and Putin both shot themselves in the foot. And Soros called it out. Exactly right. But here's what he said, which is very prophetic. He said artificial intelligence, the ability of self-computing and the ability of that to be used in social media and in technology is the number one threat to humanity's survival. Because in the hands of governments, whether it's the United States, China, Russia, or a Muslim caliphate, those regimes can exercise extraordinary power to monitor, repress, and manipulate societies. And now I understand why Soros is called, his organization is called Open Societies. I'm not against the idea. I like the idea. He's saying because there's only two kinds of societies: dictatorial closed societies where they control you, and open societies where you have freedom of information and freedom to engage in making your own choices. In that sense, I think George is on the right track. Where he goes off, quite obviously, is his definition of what a healthy society looks like, which essentially would destroy an open society, which is what he's helping do in America. Therefore, we must mobilize all our resources to bring this war to an early end, he says. We have to defeat Putin because he's worried that this could be the trigger to World War III. Hey, I hope you've enjoyed what you've heard so far. This is just a segment out of our entire podcast, but I'd love to give you access to the entire broadcast, and it's going to be at lancewallnut.com/podcast. Go there, and you can sign up and get the entire unedited, uncensored message. You know, I wrote a book, and I talked about Haggai, the prophet, talking about God is going to shake all the nations, including economic systems. And then just recently, I got challenged by a verse. It says, the silver is mine and the gold is mine. And I began to think, you know what? I'd hate to find out there was a promise and a warning here on silver and gold, and I never even thought about it. And that's the reason why I want you guys to do something right now. You want to get a 20-page special report on silver and gold. Go to lancewallnut.com/Birch, because Birch Gold is one organization that is being used by a lot of very credible people right now in order to position themselves with silver and with gold. You need to now start to look into this and learn what it is that maybe God was trying to say, that the silver is mine and the gold is mine. Go to lancewallnut.com/Birch and find out for yourself.